Ona je u Hrvatsku iz Amerike doselila prije 9 mjeseci. Nominirao ju je Joe Biden, a prisegnula je Kamali Harris. Tjedan dana prije izbora zanimalo nas je što o svemu misli američka veleposlanica. Nathalie Rayes otkrila nam je što je poklonila Baracku Obami i što će biti s njom ako pobijedi Donald Trump. Evo razgovora koji smo ranije snimili. Madam Ambassador, it's an honor to have you on the show.
It's great to be here.
So, we have only 1 week until the election. It's a tight race. What is the atmosphere like in the US?
1 week and a day, but who's counting? 8 days. Tuesday, November 5th will be our election. And it's exciting times in our democracy. We're going to see record-breaking numbers coming out to vote. And so, people are campaigning vigorously, trying to make sure that they come out and vote, because every vote will indeed matter in this election.
So do you believe that this election will change the U.S.?
Will it change the United States? Well, every election changes the United States. You're going to have a new president. I mean, Joe Biden on January 20th will not be president of the United States of America. You'll either have Kamali Harris or Donald Trump. And of course, this is historical. You're either going to have the first black woman president, or you're going to have a president who is coming back. And actually, in our history, it's only happened one time with President Cleveland, who came back as president after a hiatus of 4 years.
So are you worried about possible riots if Donald Trump doesn't win his second term?
Look, I'm hopeful. I believe in the United States of America. The fact that we are the United States of America, that we fight for our democracy day in and day out, and people are fighting for our democracy by coming out and voting in record numbers. And so I look forward to a peaceful transition of power.
So what we've seen in the last couple of days are a lot of celebrities are coming in to the election. We've seen Eminem, Bruce Springsteen, Oprah, Beyonce, everyone coming. Before also Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala. I want to know, this puzzles me, is this something that can really influence the voters to say, oh, now I want to go out and vote because Beyonce said so?
Look, it's nice to have all these endorsements. It's great. It adds publicity, it has a different dynamic to it. But at the end of the day, people like Beyonce, people like, Taylor Swift, whoever they might be, celebrities, which obviously celebrity endorsements are important, but it means that they will vote for that candidate. We don't know what it represents on a wider scale. Just because Taylor Swift has endorsed, does that mean that, her Swifties will come out and vote for Kamala Harris? We don't know, and I guess we'll soon find out.
But it's a little bit different with Elon Musk on the other side, who is campaigning for Trump. Not only campaigning, he's giving away $1 million every day to newly registered voters. Will this, in your opinion, have effect?
Look, again, I think that they're campaigning as hard as they can for their candidates, and that's what you're supposed to do, especially leading up to this election, especially knowing that it's going to be so close. And so Elon Musk is doing what any other person would do that's supporting Donald Trump. He's going to fight his hardest to make sure that Donald Trump is elected. I mean, the $1 million, it's still, we don't know if that's legal. And so the Attorney General will decide the legality of that issue.
What I read today really was interesting. They say that the polls now show that more men are going to be voting for Trump and more women are voting for Kamala Harris. So there's like a gender gap between two candidates.
I mean, we'll see. I think that the elections will be in 8 days. We know historically in the United States of America that women come out and vote more than men do, by 3% more. And so we hope that, women do come out and vote. There's a lot on the line for women and men. And so, every candidate, both Trump and Harris, are trying to mobilize all voters, from women voters to men, to Latinos, to Asians, to blacks. I mean, everybody matters. And when we say every vote does count and it matters in this election, that's the case.
What I want to ask you about is one of the things that I find really interesting in this election is the Latino voters. So you come from Venezuela, you know your community pretty well. This is why I want to ask you this. So you have Donald Trump, who is regularly insulting people who come from Mexico. He's saying they're rapists and murderers. On the other hand, yesterday they said that Puerto Rico is a garbage island of garbage. And then you have this unbelievable thing that he's gaining support within the Latino voters. How do you explain this?
Yeah, well, I can tell you historically, Biden won the election because of Latino voters. Latino voters overperformed for Joe Biden in 2020 by 60 to 70% in battleground states. So these voters matter, because you can win an election in almost any state due to the Latino vote. In Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, in Arizona, in Nevada, in Georgia, in North Carolina, in Pennsylvania. All of these voters matter. And so, look, you know, I think that Latinos are not a monolith. They're very diverse. And historically, we know that there is a conservative part of the Latino community, that they vote 30 to 40% for Republicans, and the remainder vote for Democrats. And so, you know, they're trying to seduce every voter, including Latino voters. And so, you know, we'll see how they fare out. But obviously, you know, we can't talk ill of a community.
Yeah.
We can't call Puerto Rico, which is part of the United States of America, trash.
Yeah.
You know, we have to raise the level of conversation to a conversation of respect.
Yeah.
And so that's what we expect of our leaders.
But this is why it puzzles me, you know, when someone is saying Mexicans are rapists and murderers, then it puzzles me how this community will give him the vote. So
look,
this
I
is
mean,
why
you mentioned I'm a Venezuelan immigrant.
Yeah.
I take personal insult to that.
Yeah.
Because we are coming to the United States, giving our best, giving our hearts and souls to make the United States what it is today, the land of immigrants. And so, again, we have to elevate the conversation and talk about the contributions of Latinos at every level. And so that, for me, is very important.
I wanted to ask you, you were appointed by Joe Biden, so how well do you know the American president?
Oh, well, Joe Biden is an exceptional human being. Yes, I was nominated by Joe Biden and confirmed by the US Senate, and he's given me the job of a lifetime. He made my dream come true to become a United States ambassador, a country that's given me everything I am. I'm able to give back in such a way and show the United States of the world what the United States of America is all about. The land of immigrants, a land that you can come with your dreams and work hard and persevere, and anything is possible. And so I do know the president well. I knew him when he was vice president. He's an exceptional human being. He knows, you know, foreign relations like no other. He was, you know, obviously the chairman of Senate Foreign Relations Committee, then became vice president, and then obviously president. He's a man of dignity. He's a man of the people, a man that has a strong moral compass. And so I think he's led this country in the last 4 years in a very distinguished fashion. So
what about Barack Obama? You have more personal stories with him, or more closer stories?
Well, Barack Obama, you know, is an exceptional president as well. Was an exceptional president as well. He was the first president to invite me to the White House, and so that was pretty significant. And he gave me my first appointment when I was 39 years old. He appointed me to serve on the board of the Woodrow Wilson Center for International Scholars, which was a huge honor and privilege for me to serve in that capacity. And the president, you know, again, raised the level of the Oval Office. He helped us dream and hope for a better future and a better America, and obviously delivered it in the highest ways. And so the story that I'm sure that is special to me is that, talking about the first time I visited the White House, you know, I was raised that you never enter into a home without bringing a gift. And so I'm invited to the White House, and my husband and I are going, and we bring the kids. They don't come to the White House, but they stay in a hotel nearby. Julian, I think, was 3. Alexander was 1. And I say to my husband, look, I'm going to bring a gift to the president. He's invited me to his house. You know, I was raised the right way. I cannot, like, walk into the White House. My husband's like, you're just, you know, what are you thinking? You're going to be wrestled down to the ground by Secret Service. Don't do it. And so I said, look, I'm going to do my thing. I just, you know, better he not know what I'm going to do. And so I had the Virgin of Guadalupe, which is a patron saint of Mexico, in my wallet. She had been in my wallet for the last 15 years. And, you know, she had protected me in every way. And so I was next in the queue to say hello to the president. And I said, Mr. President, I'm Nathalie Rayes. I want to thank you for what an honor it is to be here at the White House. And I have a little gift for you. And I presented him the Virgin of Guadalupe. I said, but look, we're not only going to, and this is when it wasn't looking so good that he was going to get reelected. He had a terrible debate night, and so it wasn't looking that great. And I said, look, this is a little gift for you. He said, I'm going to need that, right? I said, look, we're not going to only rely on faith. We're going to rely on hard work. We're going to make sure we walk the precincts, talk to every voter, make sure that you have the funds to deliver your message, and you're going to be back at the White House where you will continue your tenure here. Well, that was, you know, that passed. It was a great moment. And 6 months later, I'm the next one in line in New York for an event with the president. and he pulls out of his jacket pocket the
Really?
Virgin of Guadalupe. And so I think that that's what you're seeing now, me giving it to him and him showing it to me 6 months later. And I said, and I was in tears. I said, I can't believe you have the Virgin in your pocket. And he said,
protected him.
Well, he said to me, well, Natalie, you said she was going to help me win. And so, you know, he's an exceptional human being.
So very interesting story with Kamala Harris. You also know her. You've worked with her.
Kamala Harris is from, the vice president is from California, the state that I called home for many, many years. She actually swore me in to the position I'm in. She swore me in as the 10th United States ambassador to the Republic of Croatia.
But Donald Trump, have you ever met him? Do you know him personally or no?
I do not know President Trump.
So what happens if he wins again? Then your days in Croatia as an ambassador are over or no?
Yeah, well, that's a question I'm asked often. I'm glad that you're asking it here because obviously I'd love to continue serving here in Croatia. This has been an incredible position. But bottom line is that January 20th, Joe Biden will not be president. We'll either have Kamala Harris as president or Donald Trump as president. And so what every ambassador will do, political or career, all of us, will have to submit our letters of resignation.
Oh, okay. So then they will decide, the new president decides what happens.
They will accept or reject the letter of resignation.
But you would stay. You want to stay?
I would like to stay.
Okay. What I wanted to ask you is, how do you think the geopolitical situation in the world, I'm talking about the war in Ukraine and the conflict in the Middle East, will change depending on who's the United States president? Will it change?
Look, I think that, you know, we're going to have a new administration. It's not going to be the same. There will be change. But I think that what is clear for the American people is that, you know, we are going to stick by Ukraine till they win this war. And that's very, very clear.
Is this something, so Joe Biden and his administration have been giving billions of dollars to Ukraine. Is it something that's going to be a burden for Kamala Harris in a sense that Donald Trump is saying, no, I'm going to put Americans first, not some war somewhere outside?
Yeah. Well, it's not only Joe Biden and his administration that's given billions of dollars. It is the American people through the Congress. Congress voted on this. And so we have bipartisan support. We would not have been able to give the funding that we gave a few months ago if it wasn't that there was bipartisan support from members of Congress. And so that's important to note. And so I think that, you know, we'll continue in that trajectory. And guess what? We can do multiple things. We can put American first, which Joe Biden has done by making sure that we have record low levels of unemployment and people are really flourishing in the United States, and we can make sure that Ukraine is successful in this war.
What I wanted to ask you, you have, except for having Venezuelan heritage, you also have Lebanese origins. They have war now also in Lebanon, so you probably know, you have friends or family there. What is the opinion of the people? What is the situation like, and what is their stance on Hezbollah? Yeah,
well, I've traveled extensively to the Middle East. I've spent time in Beirut and Lebanon, throughout Lebanon. And I think, look, you know, Hezbollah is a terrorist organization, period. And they have American blood on their hand, besides everybody else's blood on their hand. And they've been terrorizing the Lebanese people and the Lebanese country. And they have a parallel government, which is unacceptable. Talk about a sovereign country. Lebanon is not a sovereign country. And so it's about time that they get their sovereignty back. They have Iran meddling in affairs of Lebanon. And so, as far as I'm concerned, as far as the people that I know in Lebanon are concerned, good riddance. It's about time that the Lebanese people are self-governed by the Lebanese people.
So now you've been in Croatia already for 9 months, right? I have to say you seem like a different kind of diplomat to me, or a person that is like spontaneous in conversation. You go places, you go to concerts, you've been to a fashion show yesterday, you've visited a lot of Croatia. Where have you been? A lot of places?
I've been to every županija in Croatia. And that was my goal when I arrived here, is to make sure I'm meeting people where they're at.
Okay.
I'm not here only to talk about, to talk to politicians. Obviously, that's important as an ambassador. You have to have good rapport, and the good thing is that I do have rapport with all the ministers and the president, the prime minister. I'm very lucky that way, that I'm able to work with everybody very well. But I said it in the beginning when I started my tenure here, I want to make sure I'm meeting Croatians where they are.
So when you mentioned already the politicians, how would you compare American politicians and the Croatian ones? We, for example, never see Plenković in McDonald's or Milanović giving a sermon in the church as Kamala Harris did. What do you think? They've now only discovered social media, so what do you think about their ways?
I believe in retail politics. I think that you need to meet people where they're at. I think that you have to get the pulse of your country and of your people. I mean, I've worked in campaigns and in politics most of my life. And I think it's important to hear firsthand. And I think, you know, what's wrong with going to McDonald's and serving French fries? I think that's a good thing.
You think they should be more like the American politicians in this sense?
I don't want to, you know, give advice to Croatian politicians, but, you know, I think that it works. I think it's important to hear firsthand what's happening in your country. And that means going to the barber shop. That means going to the McDonald's. That means, you know, coming out of your suite in Celtics game and going down and shaking hands with the folks that are, you know, that are in the bleacher sections. And so that's important. And I think that I like to do that myself because I want to know what people think of the United States of America here.
So what do they think? What has been your experience so far? I mean, what do they tell you when you meet people on the street?
Look, I think there's real great love for our country and for each other. I mean, we're not only allies, we're real friends. And the fact is that we have 1.5 to 1.8 Croatians in the United States of America. We have 1/3 of your population there, thriving, making America one of the best countries in the world because we are the land of immigrants. And so people love the United States here. And so I want to make sure that I'm representing the United States of America everywhere I can, and that means talking to everybody.
You've said this land of immigrants a couple of times tonight. What I want to ask you is, you were born in Venezuela. You only came to America when you were 9 years old. You didn't speak the language. So I want to ask you about what was your experience? Was it difficult for you? What kind of problems did you face when you came as a little girl who didn't speak English to the U.S.?
Well, it was very challenging. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, immigration is a challenging thing. I mean, people that leave their countries of origin, everything they love behind, everything they know behind, it's a challenging thing. But we were going for a better future. My parents, I mean, I had no decision making in this move. My parents decided for us that that was going to be better for us, and it really truly was. And so I did learn English in 5th grade. I was excellent in mathematics, but obviously didn't even know the ABCs, so they kept me in 5th grade. I didn't have to repeat a grade.
Math helps. If you know math, then you're okay.
Exactly. So they figured, you know, she can manage eventually. And so I picked it up. Within a year, I was learning, I spoke English. I remember the first word I learned how to spell people. P-O-P-O. P-E-O-P-E-L-E. I mean, like, but, you know, it was challenging.
Yeah.
And a year later, I lost my father. And so it was traumatic experiences, immigrating to a new country and then losing my dad. But, you know, it made me resilient. It made me the person I am today, a person that, you know, doesn't take no for an answer, works really, really hard, and perseveres in any situation.
So what I wanted to ask you is, like, in the US, you have the right to pursuit of happiness. Like, this is something that all people think they do have. Then, did you notice this change when you came to Croatia? A lot of people, a lot of Americans, especially when they come, they say that we seem a little bit dissatisfied and pessimistic. Do you notice this difference between the two spirits, can I say?
Well, I think, look, the pursuit of happiness is such an important thing, and I think we should all carry that in our hearts. Doesn't matter if you're an American or a Croatian. I mean, it's a universal thing, pursuit of happiness. But look, I think that Croatians are very self-critical, and I know that, you know, people are like, what does that mean, self-critical? I think that you have to work really hard and expect a lot from yourself to see how Croatia has flourished in the last 30 years. And so when I think about Croatia, I think about a country that was ripped by war 30 years ago, and today it's a flourishing country. You know, been a member of NATO for the last 15 years, member of the EU for the last 11 years, a member of the Schengen, the Eurozone as of January 2023, almost 2 years now. And so that is hard work. That is being self-critical. That's looking in the mirror and saying, how can I do more? How can I do better? Not only for myself, but for my community and my country. And so it's a Herculean effort, and it takes I mean, I wouldn't say you called it pessimistic.
Yeah.
I would say it's expecting more from oneself. It's self-critical.
So we talked about Elon Musk a little bit. You know, we have our own Mate Rimac. You know, he's planning to have the self-driving vehicle taxi on the road in 2 years' time. So there's been a lot of pessimism about this. People are not believing that this will happen. What do you think?
I think dream big.
Do you think it's going to happen? Do you believe we're going to be driving?
Look, I really think that if you are determined and focused, everything is possible. And so I really believe that if he has on his mind and he's laser focused on doing it, he will do it. And I hate the naysayers.
Yeah.
I think we should be more positive about people who are thinking outside the box and being visionaries. I think that's a healthy thing. You know, imagine if we wouldn't have visionaries. Where would we be as a community, as a society? And so I think that we should be more encouraging of people that are dreaming big.
So I know for a fact that you're a baby lasagna fan.
I do like baby lasagna, let me tell you.
Why do you think he was so well received? He became like an instant success, very well liked.
Well,
You're
I'm
a foreigner.
I'm a
Maybe
little
you
upset
can...
with him that he didn't invite me to his wedding. Let me just be honest.
Me too.
I heard he got married.
Both of us are angry. We are angry at him.
And let me tell you, I was in Istria too, so I could have really popped in, no problem. Even last minute, I would have come.
So now you don't like him anymore?
No, I love him. No, I think he's great. I think, look, all joking aside, congratulations, by the way, baby lasagna. I'm so happy that you found love and that you're married and to a long-lasting relationship with prosperity. So look, I think that he has all the elements. He's talented, he's sweet as can be, he's a great humanitarian, and he's such great spirit. And so I think that, you know, the combination is wonderful.
I want to ask you just one last question. I've seen you've been traveling everywhere in Croatia. You've been trying out all the foods, but you tried even tribes, which for me, I've never tried them all my life. So
well,
you're very brave.
You and I will have to have tripice.
I don't think I'm going to have it, but I will sit by you if you have them. You want to have them again?
We'll have to. Well, I have it often. That's my comfort food. Yes.
Did you try anything that you didn't like? Maybe it's something that was like, what is this Croatian food? I hate this.
I mean, and I have to try it again because they think that, I don't know the name of it, but it has plum sauce. Meat, veal with plum sauce.
Okay.
What is it called?
It's pasticada.
Yeah, but I told a friend that
They put plums in the sauce, if this is what you mean.
Yes,
they put it in the marinade.
Exactly, but they thought that I didn't try the right one. They want me to try it again.
Pasticada is one of the best things we have.
So I think that I will have to try it again.
Okay. So, Madam Ambassador, thank you so much for coming to the show. It's been a really interesting conversation. I looked forward to speaking to you in 8 days when we know the result of the American election.
I look forward to that very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.